brain. Flashback no jutsu. Hey, Shursui, teach me a new element, please, asked Naruto. Naruto, you first should completely master wind before you tackle anything else. It's only natural since you're only in the academy, replied Shursui. Before Naruto could retort, and no, Naruto, you may not graduate early. I already told you try to make more friends besides Shikamaru and Choji. It'll do you good. Naruto just pouted, you don't think I try. Everyone just cares about Mito. Some just become my friend to get to her. Shursui just sighed and had Naruto sit down with him. Let me tell you a story, Naruto. Naruto just pouted more. I want to learn a new element, not hear some story. You'll like it. It's about how ninjutsu was started. Not many people know the truth about it, replied Shursui. Naruto just looked curiously at Shursui. How ninjutsu started? Fine, you have piqued my interest, stated Naruto. Shursui just smirked. Alright, as you know, there are 9-tailed beasts in the world, right? Seeing Naruto nod, he continued. Well, there was once a time when all the beasts were emerged and created the 10 tails. Naruto just looked at Shursui in fear. 10 tails, wow, that's impossible. Who could be strong enough to split it into 9 beasts? Or did the beasts simply just not want to work together? Shursui replied, let me continue. This beast was so powerful that it was believed that he ruled the world. Though just like every story there is hero, a man known as the Rakudu Sannin, the sage of the 6th paths, was able to stop the beast with his special dojutsu. A dojutsu only seen in this man. The most powerful dojutsu in the world. It was known as the Rinnegan. With the Rinnegan, he defeated the beast and became its Jinchuriki, then bringing peace with the land. Naruto just stared at awe. Amazing, the Rinnegan. Was it that powerful? Shursui just nodded. Yes, but this isn't the end of the story. You see, this man later went on to have 2 sons. The older son received the spiritual energy of the sage, while his younger brother received the physical strength. The older brother received a dojutsu, though it wasn't the Rinnegan. The younger brother received the strength and chakra of his father. The older one valued nothing but power, while the younger one valued peace. He believed by working together could you achieve this. Of course, when the father sensed he would die, he believed that his younger son's view on the world was similar to, well, he was troubled with his other son's view. Therefore, he named him his heir. Of course, this didn't go well with the older brother, thus creating a huge rift between the two. Thus, the older brother created the Uchiha clan and the younger the Senju. This was the start of the rivalry of the Senju and Uchiha clan. Naruto just stared at him. Wow, I didn't know that's how it all started. But that's not all of it, is it? Shursui smiled, sharp as always. The father, before he died, split the 10 tails into 9 beasts. He entrusted the beasts the world. Though, as you know, it didn't end up well for the beasts. As he didn't just do that. Seeing the rift he created between his sons, he decided to stop the Rinnegan to emerge in either of them. He had used the last of his powers to only allow the Rinnegan to re-emerge in the eyes of a Senju and Uchiha child. Even though Naruto was very interested, he still couldn't help but ask, why are you telling me this? Shursui replies, well, you see, Naruto, I'm telling you this because you can only be strong when you have the friends to back you up. That is the will of fire. The same will that the sage of the 6 paths believed in. That's why I don't want you to graduate early. Naruto just looked at Shursui, still not convinced. I don't know. Though that isn't the only reason. As you know, the child that will reawaken it in a time of great chaos. Thus, he will be the one to stop all the chaos and finally bring peace to all the land. You want to know what, Naruto? I believe you could possibly be this child. Naruto's eyes suddenly went wide. Then suddenly he let a tear out. I don't think that will happen, Shursui. I appreciate it, but that's silly. Not even my parents can recognize me. How can I save the world? Shursui just chuckled. That may be true, Naruto, but I believe you can overcome that. I believe you can do what the eldest of the sage couldn't. That is to forgive his family. Naruto stopped the tears. Thanks, Shursui, I don't know what to say. Though I doubt I'll awaken this Rinnegan. Though I'll make sure to surpass you, Databeo. Shursui just looked at Naruto and smiled. You know, Naruto, I'm glad I made you my student. You're like the little brother I never had. Time skip. The little brother I never had, remember, I will always love you like one too. These words were all that were going through his brain. Clutching his eyes, they suddenly shaped into a black 8-point rounded star, with a red ring in the middle creating a black circle. Then between each gap of the star's points was a tomo. Naruto had unlocked the Mangekyo Sharingan. Picture of profile. Unaware of this new development, it would be years to come before he would once again use these new eyes. Though for now Naruto just fell to his knees. Deactivating his Sharingan, he collapsed onto the floor. Hokage's office. Minato was sitting at his desk impatiently. He had a really sour and tired face. It was probably around 11 p.m. Even though he knew staying up this late was part of the job, right now he would rather be up doing some paperwork than waiting for what he was waiting. He leaned back into his chair and sighed. Fugaku, I will never understand why it had to come to this. I hope you can forgive me, Itachi. All I put onto your shoulders was one big burden. I hope the next generation can be the ones to change all this. Minato straightens himself up, deciding to attack the pile of paperwork to get things off his mind. Though as he was about to reach for the stack, his family picture caught his eye. No, what really caught his eye was Naruto. As Minato stared at the redhead's deep blue eyes, he couldn't help but feel guilty. He really wanted to make it up to him, but he only had time during training. He was totally refusing that. Minato just kept thinking until his thoughts came across Shursui. I need to find out what exactly happened to him. To believe he was attacked on the way there. Yet who? Itachi looked like he wasn't going to say more, but I have an idea who it was. Danzo. Though with no proof, I can't do anything. He's planning something big. I have to find out before it's too late. I have to keep a closer eye on him. Suddenly, a black-haired man with a weasel ENBU mask appeared before him. It's done. I sparred all the children who were yet to become a genin and weren't told about the coup d'etat. A total of 13 were left alive. Sir, I have one final request. Minato just stared at Itachi with sorrow filled in his eyes. Don't worry, Itachi, no harm will be done to them. As well if you need some ammo. No, Lord Hokage, I don't need anything, replied Itachi. I need you to never tell them the truth of this night. Minato just looked at him and turned to his window. Why? I was planning to tell them the truth when they become much older. Itachi replied, I wanted them to believe that the Uchiha clan was proud clan. I don't want them to lose that part of them. That's why I did this. Minato turned around. Pulling a small bag out of his desk, he tossed it at Itachi. There should be enough money in there for a month or two. As well, your request will be fulfilled, Itachi. No one will ever be told of this unless you want to. Itachi just nodded his head. With that, he shined out of the room and as far away from the village as he could. Now for the second part of my mission, infiltrating Akatsuki. Hours later. Finally, after settling all the chaos of the massacre, Minato just really wanted to go home and crawl away. He did just that, teleporting home for the night. Namake's household. Kushina was impatiently waiting for her husband. She sat there at the kitchen table, just reading some scrolls. Even though she was a retired shinobi, she still liked to keep herself busy with she planned to return to the forces once again. After all, she was only 32, but that's for another day. So now she was sitting at the kitchen table. She always waited for Minato to come home, and today would be no exception. Suddenly, there was a small flash of yellow, and Minato appeared. Minato, where were you? Demanded Kushina. I've been waiting here for ages. Minato just looked at Kushina, and his mood worsened. She's gonna be devastated about Mikoto. Kushina, I have to tell you something, said Minato. Kushina's eyes just flared up. You cheated on me, didn't you, son? Oh. No, Kushina, there's no way I would cheat on you. I love you. Come on, cut in. Minato, trying to calm down his wife. Kushina just looked at Minato apologetically. Of course, sorry, I'm just a bit tired. It's just Mito says that every time she does something wrong. Guilt overtook Minato once again. Well, Kushina, Mikoto is dead. There was a massacre at the Uchiha compound. There was only 13 survivors, all children. Kushina's eyes just went wide. Falling back to her chair, she let the tears flow out. Her expression was filled with great sorrow. Mikoto is dead. But who would do this? Cried Kushina. We have to stop them. Minato just looked at Kushina painfully. It was Itachi, and he got away. Kushina's eyes just went wide. There is no way Itachi loved his wouldn't ever do. Must be a mistake. Minato just turned around. We don't know exactly why. He caught his brother under a powerful jinjutsu that will probably leave him in the hospital for a while. He seemed to have killed all those who had the Sharingan, leaving him as the last one with an awakened Sharingan, besides Kakashi. Kushina just couldn't believe it. Her little Itachi had done that? She just sobbed harder into her hands. Though suddenly she stopped. What about Naruto? Is he alright? Getting up from her chair, she headed for his room. Minato following behind. Kushina, I doubt anything happened to don't have to wake him up. I mean, I doubt Itachi even knew about it. Shursui told me only he and Naruto did before had disappeared. Kushina just stopped walking. What do you mean disappear? Well, I sent him on a mission, and he never reported S been marked as MIA presumed K, sheepishly replied Minato. Kushina just stared at him. Naruto is going to be so devastated. I'm still checking, and with that Kushina hurried to Naruto's room. Minato following close behind. They opened his door a bit and peeked in. What they saw was Naruto silently sleeping in his bed. See, he is just sleeping, whispered Minato. Though Kushina noticed something else. Naruto was silent, too silent. She walked up and pinched Naruto's nose. Suddenly there was a loud poof and some smoke, revealing to be just a pillow. Kushina's eyes went wide and her hands were shaking. Minato, he isn't here. Minato couldn't believe it. Itachi didn't possibly kill his son too. No, there was no way. Kushina, don't worry, we'll find him. Just stay here. Quickly flashing back to his office to alert ANBU. Wait here in no way. She quickly ran to her room and put on her old ninja outfit and headed out. Hours later, ANBU had been furiously looking for the Hokage's son, yet he was nowhere to be found. Minato was beginning to panic. Did Danzo possibly take him during all the chaos? Then suddenly an ANBU appeared. Sir, he's been found by Lady Kushina. He's now being treated at the hospital. Minato looked up. Kushina? I told her to stay home. Doesn't matter now. Okay, call of the search. I'll be heading there myself. Yes, sir, replied the ANBU and disappeared. With that, Minato proceeded to use his flying thunder god technique to teleport to the hospital. Arriving in the main lobby, he dashed to the reception. At the reception was a young woman, probably no older than says, I need the information on Naruto Namikaze now. The receptionist, not having looked up from her files, sorry, Sir, Naruto is labeled as no visitors allowed by the Hokage. A tick mark on Minato's head formed. I am the Hokage. Receptionist jumped out of her chair, dropping all her files. Finally looking up, she couldn't help but stutter. So are our Lord Hokage. Quickly getting herself back up, she pointed down the hall on her right side. Down the hall to your right. The room will be the 5th door on the left side. Room number 45. Minato just nodded and dashed down the hall. Turning to the right down the 2nd hallway, he came to room 45. Arriving at the door, he quickly opened it and went inside. Having walked into the room, he noticed Naruto laying in bed. Kushina was sitting by his side, looking very worried. Is he unconscious or resting? Thought Minato. Where did you find him? How is he? Asked Minato. Kushina turned and faced Minato. I found him right outside of training ground 31. He was just laying there totally knocked out, with his sword all bloody not too far from him. Seeing Minato's reaction at the last comment, she continued, No, it wasn't his blood. In fact, he has no injuries. I have no idea why he is unconscious though. I'm waiting for TS. Suddenly the door opened and a pair walked in, a busted blonde woman with a green robe and a young lady with short brown hair. What's going on? What's wrong with Naruto? Demanded the blonde. Lady Tsunade, please calm down, asked the brunette. How do you want me to calm down, Shizen? We've been here all night with the Uchiha massacre. Now Naruto is hurt. Minato, what type of Hokage are you? Demanded Tsunade, clutching her fist. You better have a good reason, or else you end up just like your pervy sensei. Minato quickly backed away, sweating bullets, while waving his hands in the air. Tsunade, please see. Minato was interrupted by Kushina. Tsunade, right now isn't the moment. We need to know what's wrong with Naruto. Tsunade finally having remembered about Naruto. Right, Shizen, I want you to read his report while I do a diagnosis. Shizen and Tsunade went to work. Shizen grabbing the report and reading through them, while Tsunade walked over to Naruto. Putting her hand over him, her palms turned green. Slowly she started to hover her hands all over Naruto. Strange. There's not any physical damage that could have caused him to become unconscious. As well, no signs of poisons, and quickly moving her hands to his head. She began to concentrate, closing her eyes. Then suddenly her eyes flung open. This is worse than I thought, exclaimed Tsunade. Kushina and Minato moved closer with alarm. What do you mean worse than you thought? Asked Kushina. Well, if one is unconscious and there is no sign of physical damage, that means that they must have went through mental damage. Right now, Naruto's mental state is shattered. It's actually as bad or as worse than the Uchiha kid. That's why he's unconscious, explained Tsunade. What do you mean as bad as Sasuke's? What happened to him? Asked Kushina, frantically looking at Minato and Tsunade. Minato just looked down, already knowing what had happened to young Sasuke. Tsunade just sighed. Itachi, his brother, caught him in an unbreakable Jinjutsu, which made him watch Itachi massacre the clan. He explained that in the Jinjutsu, 72 hours passed, while in real life, it was merely 5. Luckily, I was able to take him out of his unconscious state, since it was only a Jinjutsu. Yet, it still made a lot of damage in his personality and mental state. Kushina just gasped. She was still having trouble accepting the massacre, yet for Itachi to do that? She just shook those thoughts away. Then can't you do the same to Naruto? No, what happened to Naruto wasn't a Jinjutsu. It was the real thing. It would be wiser to allow his brain to catch up with the information. Though if he doesn't wake in 6 days, I'll wake him from his unconscious state. For now, it's wise to just let him rest and hope whatever happened doesn't affect him too much. Tsunade gave Naruto a kiss on the forehead, and her and Shizen headed out to check on other patients. Kushina and Minato just stood there watching Tsunade leaving. Minato just looked tired and filled with grief. Kushina looked like she was going to burst into tears again. What type of mother have I been lately? I keep saying I want him to come back. Though what have I really done? I've just kept offering to train him. I don't even know what he really likes now you're here in so much pain. Yet I can't do anything because I don't really know much about your life. Minato interrupted her, thinking, Kushina, it's best if you go back and rest. It's been such a long night, we're just gonna have to wait for him to wake up. No, replied Kushina. Minato was a bit taken back. Kushina would usually agree with him. Kushina, you have to remember that Naruto isn't your only child. You also have to worry about Mito. No, I'm not leaving. Just like Mito isn't our only child. Tell me, Minato, do you have any ideas what could possibly have caused Naruto into this state? To get put in this mental state, his worst fear must have came true. Tell me, Minato, do you know what he is scared of the most? Seeing that Minato had no answer, just like you can't tell that. Can you even tell me what his favorite color is? Dreams for the future? I can name all of Mito's, but none of Naruto's. And oh, I'm not leaving, crossing her arms and sitting down by Naruto. Minato just sighed. Then suddenly, all the guilt went rushing at him. He knew what Kushina had said was totally true. He actually wanted to stay too, but he had to remember that he was Hokage too. You're right. I don't know any of that stuff. You can stay with him until morning, but if he doesn't wake up, you'll go back and rest. I need to get some rest. Then I'll check up on you in a few hours. With that, Minato disappeared in a flash. Kushina just sat in the chair by Naruto, waiting for her son to wake up. 3 days later. Naruto's mind. Naruto, you were like a little brother to me. Remember, I will always love you like one too. Naruto heard and watched himself kill Shisui over and over, felt like he had watched this a million times, yet he still couldn't process the information. It was like every time he watched it, it was a new memory. Then suddenly he heard a voice, move on. Naruto cocked his head. In front of him was an illusion of Shisui. Wake up, Naruto, you can do it, just move on. Hospital room. Naruto suddenly jerked awake. Sitting up, he looked straight ahead. Looking to his left, he noticed the sun was high in the sky. It was just a bad dream. Then suddenly Naruto looks down to what he is wearing. He notices he is in the same outfit as the dream. Clutching his head, it can't be, unless reaching for his pouch, he digs around. Then suddenly his hand lands on a slightly bigger scroll. His breath suddenly gets much more shallow. Slowly pulling it out, he notices it is the same scroll Shisui gave him. Clutching his head once more, he screams, "Enolo!" Kushina woke from her sleep in shock. Looking up, she noticed her son was clutching his head with a scroll in his hands. Quickly getting up, she heads over to him and tries to get a grip on him. Honey, please calm us. All right, you're safe. Naruto looks over, just noticing his mom, though it wasn't enough to calm him down. As she tried to embrace him in a hug, he pushed away and got off the bed. And oh, he can't be dead. Falling to his knees, he stops clutching his head. I didn't mean to, I swear. Suddenly, he burst into tears. Who's dead? What happened to you, Naruto? Thought Kushina as she tried to calm down her son. Then suddenly Tsunade burst into the room. What's going on? He, looking down at Naruto. She rushes over to him. Naruto, calm down, it wouldn't do you any good if you just collapse again. Naruto's crying ceases. He rushes over to Tsunade and embraces her in a hug. Grn Matis Tsunade, I didn't mean TDO. Tsunade just hugs him back. Looking at Kushina, she gives her a questioning look. Kushina just shook her head. He just woke up like this. I don't know what he's talking about. Tsunade, having understood, grabs Naruto and brings him back to his bed. Okay, Naruto, calm down. Then tell us what happened. Naruto, having understood what she said, begun to calm down. What happened to you last night, Naruto? Asked Tsunade. Naruto looked at her and stuttered back. He attacked me. THHN, I defended. ISWW through Ugg, shaking his head to compose himself. He gulped and continued. I stabbed him with my sword. Then he died, but I didn't know it was him. I swear you have to believe me. He had a mask. Tsunade's and Kushina's eyes went wide. Shursui did this. Was he with Itachi? Why did Shursui do this? Asked Kushina. Was he with Itachi? Naruto's eyes went wide with the mention of Itachi. Then he remembered what Shursui told him. Did Itachi really kill his clan? Tsunade and Kushina gasped. Naruto, we never told you about that. How did you know? Naruto closed his eyes. So, Itachi really do it. He was about to respond when he remembered what Shursui told him. You can never let anyone know the truth. He told me before he died, replied Naruto, taking a huge breath, though I thought he was just making up lies. Honey, why did Shursui attack you? Asked Kushina. Naruto just gritted his teeth. I don't know. He said he wanted to test me. He said he was already dying, so he wanted to see how far I had progressed. Naruto's mind was racing at 1,000,000 miles per hour. Do I tell them? No, Shursui said not to, though he did this to me. Why? Tsunade looked at Naruto with full sorrow. Narrate. Can I just go home? I want to get some rest. Interrupted Naruto. Has the Uchiha funeral passed? Yes, yesterday, replied Kushina. Naruto closed his wanted to go pay his respect to Shursui, but at the same time, he felt so bitter towards him. Okay, can we go, Mom? Said Naruto as he headed for the door. Tsunade just sighed. I'm not supposed to let you go, but I'll make him. Please, Naruto, take it easy. Naruto stopped as he opened the door, and in a monotone voice he replied, okay. As Kushina and Tsunade saw Naruto leave, a face of worry crossed Kushina and Tsunade. Kushina followed behind his son. Many hours later at the cemetery, the whole village had heard the unfortunate news about the Uchiha clan, that Itachi had massacred his clan and had only spared the children, which weren't many, just 13 of the 67 of the Uchiha clan. A huge funeral had been set by the Hokage. Not all the village attended, but a majority of it did. After his mother told Minato about Shursui's death, Minato proceeded to add him to the graves, which left Kushina baffled since Shursui had tried to kill Naruto, but Minato wouldn't explain it to Kushina. Naruto has been just thankful he hadn't seen his dad all day. He didn't know what he would do if he saw him in front of him. He was holding so much anger towards him. As well, he got really ticked off when Mito greeted him. She just asked if he was all right and left. From that moment, he decided to just stop trying. Even though Shursui had asked him to, he just couldn't stand it anymore. The only reason he had attempted to even talk to her was because Shursui had asked him to. She never tried to say anything back and took him for granted, though the only person he really couldn't complain about was his mother. He was very grateful she was there. He probably would have just stayed in his room if it wasn't for her. For the first time in his life, he actually felt like his mother cared. She had actually asked him what he wanted to eat. Asked him as well. From what he heard from Mito's complaining, she stood by his side all 3 days. He couldn't help but hug his mother. For probably the first time in his life, he hadn't felt overlooked. Even after all of this, Naruto had decided he needed to go cemetery. He felt if he could find closure, it would be there. Naruto was walking down the road to the cemetery. On his way, he could see people looking at him. Some waved because he was the son of the 4th Hokage. Yet he saw some kids point at him and snicker. Naruto couldn't help but feel a bit anger. They're laughing at me just after what happened, though I have been in coma for 3 days. Naruto just sighed. I'm such a mess, I don't know whether I should be angry or that I wouldn't let get to me. Are now getting to me. Turning the corner, he walked into the cemetery. As he walked down the rows of graves, he made his way down to the Uchiha Memorial. As he reached the place, he begun going down the rows, which were alphabetical, until he made his ways to the S's. Taking a deep breath, he made his way to Shirsue's grave. Naruto looked down. He knew that there was no body in the grave, but he couldn't help but fall to his knees. As he stared down the grave, he began to cry. "Why did you do this to me, Shirsue?" quietly asked Naruto, tears flowing down his face. "Why did you have to die?" Naruto couldn't help but cry. What Shirsue had done, know what he had done was just too much. He didn't know to be angry at himself or at Shirsue. Shirsue said he did this for him, but he didn't know what to think. Naruto just stayed quiet as he thought to himself. He didn't notice a small figure walk up to him. The little figure walked up to Naruto and whispered, "Excuse me, sir." Naruto turned around and noticed it was a black-haired girl. She had the same dark eyes as all the Uchiha, though they were a little puffy. Naruto slowly moved to the right. Curious about the girl, he stayed. Naruto, taking a better look at her, noticed she looked a lot like Shirsue, though in a feminine way. He watched as the girl placed a white flower on top of his grave. Naruto couldn't help but ask, "Did you know Shirsue?" The girl just looked up. As she tried to speak, her voice choked a little. "Yes, he was my big cousin. He would sometime look after me because Muamwai would sometimes be out on missions. He was pretty funny and nice. I miss him and mommy the most." The little girl begun to let some tears flow out. Naruto suddenly felt like running away. He really wasn't good with little kids, even though he was a kid. Though suddenly Shirsue's voice crossed his mind. Take care of the next generation of the Uchiha. Naruto took a deep breath. Maybe was why Shirsue did what he did. I can do this. I won't run away. Yeah, he was pretty funny, wasn't he? But I don't think he would find it very funny to see you cry, replied Naruto. What's your name, by the way? Aren't you a little young to be here alone? My name is Haruka, and I'm 5, so I can take care of myself, replied the little girl, finally whipping the tears as her fiery attitude started to bubble her reaction. Naruto finally did something he hadn't done in days. He smiled. Fiery and confident, just like Shirsue. Naruto blinked at that thought. Wasn't he just confused about Shirsue a minute ago? Why was he so happy with this? Getting rid of the thought, he teased the girl. I don't know, you look like a squirt to me. Haruka just pouted. You can't call me a squirt, you're probably like 10. I'm 11, by the way. So tell me, why are you here alone? Asked Naruto. Haruka's little pouty face turned into a sad one. I wanted to bring Shirsue a flower, but the lady taking care of us wouldn't let me. So I snuck off. Naruto just sighed, even though he had done the same. I don't think the lady will be too happy with you. As well, she must be worried sick. Haruka replied, I don't care. I said I was going to say bring Shirsue a flower, and that's it. By the way, how do you know so much about him? Who are you? Naruto made a little choke sound. He had a little trouble responding, but he replied, he was my sensei, and he was my best friend. Naruto's eyes widened at what he just said, though suddenly his mood changed. Yes, he is my best friend. Regardless of what happened. I guess that's what I needed to confirm. Yeah, my best friend. As well, my name is Naruto. Finished Naruto. Haruka's eyes went wide. You're Naruto? Wow, Shirsue told me about you. He said that you were a really good ninja. Haruka looked at her feet. Can I ask you something? Naruto looked back, a bit curious at her change of attitude. What? Well, my mommy didn't like you very much. She thought that an Uchiha should teach an Uchiha. So why did Shirsue teach you? Innocently asked Haruka. Naruto just gave a loud sigh. He really didn't like when the Uchiha would criticize Shirsue teaching him. Well, the first reason was because Shirsue believed I was a lot like him. As well, me and Shirsue were like, we were well, if you believe an Uchiha can only teach an Uchiha. Well, closing his eyes for a second, he reopened them. Unaware himself, he had shown the girl a fully matured Sharingan. The little girl gasped, Why, you're an Uchiha? Naruto shook his head. No, I'm from the Namikaze and Uzumaki clan. The Namikaze clan are cousins of the Uchiha, and Uzumaki cousins of the Senju. Since I have both Senju and Uchiha blood, I can activate the Sharingan. So in a way, yes, I am, but not fully. The girl was still in awe. How did you already master it? My mother said it usually took an Uchiha until the age of 15 to reach its full potential. Only Shirsue and Itachi did it early. Naruto looked at the girl, confused. Mastered? I only have 2 Timonless. Naruto reached to his shoe, pulling out a small knife. He looked into the reflection. As he saw, he let a loud gasp. Shise, you did this for me, didn't you? Naruto let out a tear. He had finally understood why Shisui had done what he had done, as he remembered what he had said a long time ago. Flashback no jutsu. Naruto was panting as he was finishing his last exercise. He deactivated his Sharingan as he caught his breath. He had seen the difference between an immature Sharingan and a mature Sharingan. Shisui's Sharingan made him look like he didn't have any in the first place. So he couldn't help but ask, "Hey Shisui, how did you mature your Sharingan so quickly?" Shisui just looked at him. "Naruto, there's no easy way if that's what you're asking. Though there are two ways and one may reach the third and final stage." That piqued Naruto's interest. Two ways? Shisui nodded his head. Yes, one of course is to train it to the limit, though the second is similar to just activating the Sharingan. A normal Uchiha could activate it when they are in great danger, though for you it's a little different. Naruto gave him a question look. What do you mean? Well, not to bring back bad memories, but you activated your Sharingan because of great grief. The betrayals of your parents was enough emotion to help activate them, replied Shisui. Naruto asked, I understand that, but why is that? Well, you see, when one isn't a full-blooded Uchiha, it takes more than danger to activate the Sharingan, since they don't have enough of the gene in their blood. So it takes a deeper emotion, such as grief and anger, replied Shisui. Though unless you want to lose someone precious, I think you should just stick to the road of hard work. Naruto waved his hands in the air. Come on, Shisui, you know I'm not power hungry. As well, I can never cause intentional harm to those around me. Shisui just smiled at him. Good, because I just remembered. I won't be able to take you out for ramen. I have a mission. Then he disappeared in a poof. Naruto just blinked, then yelled, Shisui. Flashback, no jutsu release. Naruto couldn't help but cry. He had finally understood. Shisui knew he was going to die, so he made sure his death wasn't in vain. He made sure the Naruto would be strong enough. Yes, he had found his closure, though for a moment he forgot about the little girl. I'm sorry I brought back bad memories. Please don't cry, begged the Haruka as she too was about to cry. Naruto composed himself, not wanting to see the girl cry again. Don't worry, Haruka. It's all right, as he embraced her in a hug. Why don't I take you back to the orphanage? Haruka shook her head. I don't want to go back yet. It's really lonely there. All the kids are like at least 3 years older than me or 2 years younger. Naruto, just though he hadn't lost all his family like her, he could understand one thing, loneliness. Naruto had felt it his whole life, when Shisui was away, whether it was at school, home, or at the park. If he wasn't with Kakashi, Tsunade, Itachi, or Shisui, he was usually all alone. Suddenly, her stomach growled. The little girl blushed a little at the loud sound she made. Naruto allowed a smile to escape his lips. I guess we don't have to go back right away. How about we get something to eat? Haruka twiddled her fingers. I don't know, but only if it's ramen. Naruto just smiled. Well, lucky you, I know the best ramen shop in town. Haruka's eyes went wide. Really, mommy wouldn't let me have a lot. She said it was unhealthy. Haruka's eyes narrowed as she thought about her mother. Naruto saw this. Well, that's what I thought so too, but the old man there has this special soup for me. It's filled with vegetables and lots of good meats. It's quite healthy, actually. I bet your mother would have approved. Haruka looked at him. Really, well, let's go. Grabbing him by the arm, she dragged him out. Though before she did, he gave Shisui's grave one last look and smiled, then looked back at the girl. The little grieving girl he had seen a moment ago was now all smiles. It was like even if the world stopped spinning, her smile wouldn't fade. As they raced to the shop, he couldn't help but to laugh with her. He was only 11, but he felt kind of silly. Naruto and Haruka sat down in the stand. Naruto called out, I am 2 training specials. A brunette girl faced them, coming right up Naruto. As well, who's the girl? My name's Haruka, answered Haruka for Naruto. I am laughed a little at the hyper girl. It seems, Naruto, you have found your former self. Naruto just sighed and Haruka pouted. I wasn't that bad, was I? Oh, Naruto, you used to be such a hyper kid before you started training. Even I couldn't handle you, replied Ayam as she disappeared into the kitchen. Haruka looked at Naruto. Hey Naruto, what did she mean, former self? Well, you see, I used to be lots like you, Haruka. Always hyper and brash, replied Naruto. I'm not brash, screamed Haruka. Naruto just smiled. Whatever. Haruka stopped her pouting. You know, Naruto, you aren't that bad. Especially since you bought me some ramen. No problem, Haruka. I know you're having a little trouble, replied Naruto. No, it's not just that. You've been the first person since the incident to actually do something. I mean, people say they're sorry for me, but they didn't go out of their way like you did, said Haruka as she let out a tear, reaching for a hug, so thank you. Naruto returned the hug a bit. As I said, no problem. Haruka, whipping away the tears, couldn't help but ask, Naruto, maybe you could come visit me tomorrow. It's a bit lonely at the orphanage. So maybe. Naruto looked at the little girl. To be honest, he really didn't want to get too attached to her, since what just happened with Sure. But he couldn't say no to hear sorrowful face. Sure, Haruka. As well, once you start becoming a ninja, well, if you become a ninja, I could train you too. Haruka's face lit up at Naruto's response. Thank you, Naruto, and yes, I want to become a great ninja like my mom and Sure. Suddenly Ayam appeared. Hey, race the food, putting down 2 bowls. Haruka, be a little careful, it's hot, honey. Well, time to eat, stated Naruto as he pulled out a pair of chopsticks, with Haruka doing the same, as Naruto was halfway through his food. Thanks a lot, big brother Naruto, said Haruka. Naruto choked on his food. What did you say? Haruka was a bit nervous at his response. While my mother said that her older brother always took care of her, and you're taking care of me. So you're kind of like my big brother. Looking down into her bowl, I'm sorry if I upset you. Naruto's grin was so wide it almost fell off his face. Maybe I can't find a sister in Mito, but Haruka, I promise to protect you. It's fine, Haruka. Naruto returned to eating his food, perfectly fine. Haruka smiled and reflected, maybe I didn't lose all my real family in massacre. All right, big brother, as she returned to eating her bowl. Unnoticed by her, Naruto stared at the space in front of him. I truly understand why you did it, no Sure. Looking at Haruka, to protect those close to you. To protect Haruka, the rest of the Uchiha kids, and Meso, this is the will of Fire, and I will be the next to carry the torch. 3 months later. It had been 3 months since the Uchiha incident. 6 months until he would be able to become an official ninja. Even though he had flirted with the idea of graduating 2 months ago, he remembered his promise to Sure. As well, he had another reason. He also wanted to spend more time with his new little sister, Haruka. He remembered the first couple days visiting her. She was so excited she couldn't help but bounce all over the place. Naruto had a bit of trouble handling her. Yes, he had been the same at the age of 5, but this was ridiculous. The little girl couldn't stay still for more than 5 minutes. She always wanted to do something that Naruto had never done before. Things he should have done, but he was too obsessed with becoming a ninja. Yet, through all the embarrassment and headaches, Naruto couldn't help but love the little girl like a real sister. He would always spoil her with his pocket money, as well do almost anything with her. As well, he couldn't wait until she became older to start teaching her how to become a ninja. Though this would all have to wait because now Naruto was stuck in the middle of his academy class. Naruto was sitting in the far back left corner of the room. He was sitting in the sit by the wall, while Shikamaru and Choji occupied the other 2 seats. Shikamaru was just sleeping, and Choji was silently eating away at some chips. Naruto was debating whether to ask his mother for help in Fuinjutsu. Fuinjutsu would be perfect for the technique I'm creating, though it would be a while until I actually use it. Should I ask her? I mean, she has been much nicer to me and spending more time with me. Maybe I should give her a chance. Then suddenly 2 pieces of chalk went flying toward his direction. He was able to notice that one piece was aimed at him and the other at Shikamaru. Grabbing his eraser, he threw it at the one aimed at Shikamaru's head and tilting his head to the left, evading the piece of chalk thrown at him. Naruto smirked. He really liked showing off to his favorite sensei, Iruka. Iruka just gave Naruto a quick smile. Naruto, really good. It's hard to believe you aren't a genin yet. As Iruka looked around the classroom, he saw the shock in everyone's face. Many were impressed, never seeing such reflexes. Kiba looked at him with jealousy, while Mito looked a bit impressed. Ino and Sakura were rambling something about trying to be like Sasuke. Hinata just gave Naruto a smile. Shino gave a somewhat impressed face, while Sasuke showed no emotion. He wasn't surprised by the Naruto's reflexes. Impressive, Naruto, but that doesn't mean both you and Shikamaru can slack off in class, so pay attention, yelled Iruka as his head expanded. Shikamaru slowly lifted his head. Can you turn it down? and thanks Naruto. Then he slowly perched his head back down. Suddenly, a big tick mark appeared on Irika's head. Wake up, Shikamaru, pay attention. The class suddenly erupted in laughter. Some of them were laughing at Irika's failure at controlling them, while some laughed at Shikamaru's lazy response. Suddenly, one brown-haired kid with red marking on his face stood up. Irika-sensei, just give up, it's not like they're gonna become ninjas anyways. They're a bunch of idiots who don't pay attention. Kiba, don't talk about your classmates like that. Anyone here can become a great ninja with effort, retorted Irika. Then suddenly a blonde-haired girl stood up. Though they never try, sensei, there's no way they can become great ninjas. Ino, said Irika as he was interrupted by Naruto. Shut your mouth, Ino and Kiba. You see, the reason we don't pay attention to this is because we already know it as well. Being a ninja isn't just about knowing your history. You also have to know how to fight in ninjutsu, taijutsu, and jinjutsu. So, until you can beat either one of us in this, just shut your face. Why, you replied Ino as she was ready to go pummel him. I can beat you in anything, Naruto, bring it on, fired back Kiba as his eyes ignited into little flames. Sasuke, who had watched all this, just grunted. He knew a bit more of Naruto's full abilities, and he knew there wasn't a Chunin alive that could probably go toe-to-toe with a Chunin like Irika. Sasuke knew he couldn't defeat Naruto. It hurt his ego a lot, but he eventually came to accept it. It was actually Naruto himself who had helped drop his ego a bit. He remembered meeting up with him a few months ago. Flashback, no jutsu. 2 months ago. Fire release. Great fireball technique. A huge ball of fire quickly erupted from Sasuke's mouth. The huge ball of fire quickly destroyed the 5 practice dummies in front of him. Sasuke was breathing hard. I need to get stronger, but my limit is only 5. It is pathetic. If I want to get him, I need to get stronger. Meanwhile, a blue-eyed redhead was a few trees away, watching him practice his technique. Naruto's eyes quickly changed from their deep blue to a bloody red, with 3 tomo around the pupil. Naruto watched curiously with his Sharingan. He could tell that his problem was that he had below-average chakra control, therefore hindering his growth in the technique. Though his Sharingan could also see the hatred in his eyes. So much uttered. I see what Haruka meant. Flashback inside a flashback. Naruto was walking down the village with Haruka perched on his shoulders. Naruto was taking Haruka back to the orphanage. After they had gone to the word, just enjoying each other's silence as they made their way there. Suddenly, Haruka broke the ice. Hey, big brother, can you do me a favor? Asked Haruka. Naruto gave Haruka a strange look. She wasn't the one to dance around something. She was usually quite blunt. What is it, Haru? Haruka gave him an angry look. It's not Haru, it's Haruka. Whatever, Haru. Smirked Naruto as he looked up to her pouty face. So, what is it? You're usually quite straightforward about wanting something. Haruka dropping her pout. Oh yeah, I was wondering if you could talk to Sasuke. Naruto gave her a curious look. Taking her down from his shoulders, he put her on the ground. Kneeling down to her eye level. Why? Is he bothering you? Haruka gave a shrug. Not really, but he is always so lonely. As well, he only talks about getting revenge on Itachi. I told him that you said that revenge was pointless, but he wouldn't listen. Haruka started to look glum. So, I was wondering if you could help because I don't want to lose any more family. Naruto responded with a sigh. I forgot about S. Right, I have to do something about it. What was Itachi thinking for being such a genius? He really screwed this one, Yuppie. I guess it was the only way to shrug any suspicions on the village. What to do? What to do? Don't worry about it, said Naruto as he kept giving the situation some taking his attention from it. He teased Haruka. I'll take care of it. Anything else, my little Haru? Haruka gave him an annoyed look. Then suddenly a big grin covered her face. Well, now that you mention it though about some ice cream. Naruto backed off. Haruka, I don't know, last time the orphanage lady almost killed me for bringing you late. Haruka did the only jutsu she knew, puppy-eye jutsu. Beauty said if I wanted anything else, and I want ice cream, I thought I was your little Haru. Naruto tried to look away, but he fell victim to her puppy eyes. Fine. Yes, yes, I want chocolate and vanilla, screamed Haruka. Naruto grabbed her hand looking defeated. Let's go. Flashback inside of flashback end. I really need to be careful around, just talking with him won't work. Maybe I should. He watched as Sasuke went through the hand signs for the fireball jutsu. I guess it's now or never. Just as he released his jutsu, Naruto jumped in front of his target, going through his own hand signs, water release, wild water wave. Suddenly, a large jet of water was shot out of Naruto's mouth. The jet of water collided with the fireball, canceling out the technique, leaving behind a small amount of mist. As the mist cleared, Naruto was facing directly in front of Sasuke. Sasuke just looked at Naruto angrily. What does he want? He's interrupting my training. What do you want? Bluntly stated Sasuke. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I was wondering why you were training so hard. It seems you're desperate to become stronger, but for what? Sasuke glared Naruto down. What does it matter to you? You wouldn't understand. Naruto just gave a small laugh. What makes you think I wouldn't understand? Maybe I could even help you out. You can't help me. As well, I don't want helped up, boldly stated Sasuke. Naruto just sighed. Closing his eyes, he reopened off the 3 tomo in his eyes. Sasuke, seeing his eyes, stepped back. There's no way. How do you have those eyes? Retorted Sasuke. I'm from the Namikaze and Uzumaki clan. I really hate explaining this anyways. The Namikaze are cousins to the Uchiha, while the Uzumaki to the Senju. Since I have blood of both, I can activate the Sharingan, explained Naruto. Sasuke looked skeptically at Naruto. Then, without reserve, Sasuke demanded, train me. Naruto just looked at Sasuke, already expecting this. You don't have enough of it. Sasuke's eyes just grew wide as he remembered what Itachi said. You don't have enough hatred. Sasuke suddenly became so angry. I do too. I challenge you right here and now. Naruto just shook his head, not aware that Sasuke was thinking about hatred. Follow me, I'll help you get what you need. With that, Naruto just walked off. Sasuke debated whether or not to follow him. Could he help me get more hatred? Is this how he already mastered the Sharingan? I guess it won't hurt. Sasuke hurried after Naruto. Center of the village. Naruto was just walking silently as he walked down the street with Sasuke. They walked along. Sasuke couldn't help but ask, how long have you had the Sharingan? Naruto stopped walking, turning to Sasuke. Well, I've had it since I was 9. Sasuke eyes widened at how early he got it, feeling a bit jealous. Though it took a lot of work to master it, since I'm not a full-blooded Uchiha. I just recently mastered it. You could probably master it in a year and a half. So how long have you had it? Sasuke looked away, mumbling something. Naruto, not having heard him, what did you say? Sasuke looked back at him. I have an auk in it. Naruto suddenly burst out laughing. Sasuke suddenly felt rage once again bubble out. It's not funny. Naruto, controlling himself. Are you sure? Not to be rude or anything, but the one teaching me said an Uchiha can awaken it by simply seeing someone they know die. I mean, wasn't the massacre enough? Sasuke looked a bit shocked at the information. I've never heard that before. Who exactly was his sensei? Well, I guess it wasn't enough for me, retorted Sasuke. Naruto looked impassively at Sasuke. Have you even tried channeling chakra to your eyes? Sasuke felt dumbfounded of never trying that before. Quickly taking his advice, he channeled chakra to his eyes. Suddenly, everything changed. He saw everything slow down a notch. As well, he could see signs of chakra inside the people around him. Amazing. Stop that, you don't have the proper control. You'll burn through your chakra too easily, said Naruto. Let's go, we're here. Sasuke looked at where they were. Looking up, he noticed it was the orphanage in which most of the Uchiha kids stayed. What are we doing here? I thought you were going to help me get stronger? That's exactly what I'm doing, said Naruto as he walked in. Sasuke just followed behind him, a bit nervous. What if I have to kill one of my clansmen? Is that how he got so strong? Suddenly, they appeared in the front office, where a young lady around her late 20s was sitting in a desk. Hello, Naruto, are you here to see Haruka? Oh, Sasuke, right. You here to see some family, I'm guessing? Sasuke, not knowing what to say, just let Naruto respond. Yes, and yes. If you don't mind, we'll head there ourselves. The lady nodded at Naruto. That's fine, go right ahead. But Naruto, please keep it. Always seem to get a bit out of hand when you're with Haruka. Naruto's sweat dropped as he nodded back and signaled for Sasuke to follow. They walked towards the hall to the lady's left. They walked past many doors as Sasuke asked, what are we doing here? Sasuke, what's your dream in life? Asked Naruto. Sasuke looked at Naruto angrily. He really hated how he kept answering his questions with questions. It annoyed him to no end. It isn't a dream because I will make it a reality. My goal is to restore my clan to its former glory. Stop right there, said Naruto. You said you want to restore its former glory, right? Sasuke just nodded, not knowing where this was going. Well, the Uchiha clan was known for its police force, right? They were known for bringing justice and protecting everyone. If you truly want to restore your clan to its former glory, you will drop your thirst for revenge, stated Naruto out of the blue. Sasuke responded, you don't understand, for me to be strong, I have to kill Itachi. He told me. You must be the biggest idiot alive, Databeo cut in Naruto. Why would you listen to person that killed your clan? If were you, I wouldn't listen to one word that piece of trash said. Sasuke's eye widened as he realized what Naruto said was right. Though Naruto continued. You want to know what my sensei said? He said that one became truly strong when they have the will to protect someone they care for. My sensei Shisui Uchiha. Sasuke jumped at that voice. Shisui taught him? This was the kid that Itachi said would be my rival, though didn't Shisui die before the massacre? Shisui was probably as strong or stronger than Itachi. He was going to stop Itachi, but he died, said Naruto as he closed his eyes. Sasuke quickly retorted, if he was so strong, then why did he die at Itachi's hands? Naruto lifted his head in anger. He didn't die at his hands. Not a lot of people know this, but someone got in his way. Someone that wanted his Mangekyo Sharingan. Naruto covered his mouth at what he said. Sasuke looked at him in shock. Mangekyo Sharingan? He had it, so that means he had to kill his best friend as well. If he had it, there would be no way he would lose. Naruto shook his head. Looking around to make sure no one was around, he continued, Shisui told me that there was a second way to activate it. To work the Sharingan to the point it naturally evolves into the Mangekyo. Killing your best friend is the easy way out. Sasuke was amazed at Shisui's ability of the Sharingan. He remembered his father praising him a few times, but he had no idea that he was that skilled. To naturally evolve the Sharingan to the Mangekyo, that must take some serious skill, or everyone would have it. That still doesn't explain how he lost, if he had the Mangekyo Sharingan, retorted Sasuke. I can't tell him about Danzo. He will quickly connect the dots. Though if I twist the story a bit, thought Naruto. Do you really think Itachi killed the Uchiha clan by himself? There was someone else, you know. Who was it? I'll kill him too, then said Sasuke, finally confirming his suspicions. Naruto looked at the window. Shisui didn't know who it was exactly, but he had an orange mask and the Mangekyo Sharingan. He claimed to be Madara Uchiha. Sasuke's eyes widened in shock. But shouldn't he be dead? As well, why would he attack his own clan? Naruto shrugged his shoulders. I don't know, but I have a few theories. Shisui told me he was the one behind the Nine Tails attack 11 years ago. So, I believe it was to weaken the village to get his revenge, or he still holds a grudge against the clan for joining the Leaf. Sasuke was trying to process all of this. Who else knows? Naruto shrugged again. I don't know. I know that all Jonins are aware of the masked man. But his involvement in the massacre? Probably just the Hokage and the advisors. Sasuke blinked on how Naruto addressed his father. Shouldn't you say father or dad? For the second time Sasuke had seen Naruto lose his cool. That man doesn't know what a father means if it hit him right in the head. Now let's go. He must have issues with his father. It's probably since his sister is a Jinchuriki. She probably gets lots of attention, while he gets none. Kind of like I was with my father, quickly summed up Sasuke. Shouldn't we be training to get stronger? What if this guy comes back? We will eventually, but do you know how Madara was defeated? Asked Naruto. Sasuke answered, well, the first Hokage defeated him. Yes, but he defeated him because he had the will of fire. Explained Naruto. Sasuke looked at him curiously. The will of fire? Naruto nodded. Yes, the will of fire. The will to protect all those close to you no matter what. Hiroshima had the will to protect Konoha no matter what. Therefore, he had the strength to defend everyone. To defeat his biggest rival, Madara Uchiha. Sasuke thought it over in his head, the will of fire. But who do you have to protect? I mean, you don't sound on good terms with your father. No offense, but you and your sister Mito don't really act like siblings. More like people forced to greet each other. That only leaves what, your mother? Asked Sasuke. Naruto didn't respond right away. As they finally made their way to an orange door, he knocked and responded, you're right. I'm not on best terms with my family, but I have someone else. She's kind of like a little sister. That's who I want to protect. Sasuke wondered who this girl was. Though his question was quickly answered as the door swung opened, and he heard a little girl yell, "Big brother Naruto." The girl quickly tackled Naruto to the ground. "Calm down, Haruka. I come visit you every day," said Naruto as he chuckled at her antics. "I know, but it's so boring, wanna go tea." Haruka stopped talking as she noticed who was with Naruto. Hi big cousin Sasuke." Sasuke looked at the girl, remembering who she was. Wasn't she like the daughter of mother's cousin Mina? "And Haruka," said Sasuke. Haruka deadpanned at his response. "What?" Sasuke felt his eyebrow twitch a little. Naruto laughed at Haruka's reaction. Then suddenly a few other kids appeared at the door. "Hey, it's cousin Sasuke," yelled a 9-year-old with his brown hair in a ponytail. "Shut up, Ken," retorted another boy with black hair hanging to his shoulders. He was probably around 8 years old. "Make me Katashi," retorted Ken. "Just watch me," said Katashi. Suddenly another girl with long black hair walked in. "Both of you calm down, or I'll beat you to the ground." Both of the boys hugged each other as they backed away. Then the girl turned her attention to Sasuke and Naruto. "I'm so sorry about these idiots. So how are you doing, Sasuke? We haven't seen you since that day." "It's all right, Aiko," said Naruto as he gave the boys a pitiful look. "As for Sasuke, I guess I'll let him respond." Sasuke looked around at his family that he hadn't noticed until now, how he had abandoned them. "I can't believe I haven't taken time to visit them. I'm no better than him." Naruto watched as Sasuke didn't respond. He decided to respond for him. "Well, you see guys, it's just he has had a bit more trouble than you guys. To get over the fact what his Itachi did." "Well, you should have came earlier. Than what's family for?" "To help each other out, of course," added Aiko. "Yeah," yelled both Katashi and Ken. Sasuke just stared dumbfounded at his family. He didn't know what to say. "What do I say?" Then suddenly he felt a tug at his shorts. Looking down, he saw a kid probably no older than 3. Looking at the kid, he had his hands up, motioning to pick him up. Sasuke, not even thinking about it, his body just picked up the kid. As he got a better look, he noticed the kid looked a lot like Itachi. His hair had the long hair with 2 bangs and just didn't have the 2 lines by his nose, and his hair was a lighter shade. Sasuke suddenly felt really numb. Am I not supposed to be the next head of the clan? But I put my family to the side. Though Naruto, he looks to have gained their respect, and he also has mastered the Sharingan. With what? The will of fire? Will this truly make me strong? Looking around at his family, he did something he hadn't done since before the massacre. Something he didn't think he would do until he had killed Itachi. He smiled. Not one of those smirks he would give. No, a real genuine smile. "I'm sorry. I guess I was a bit selfish, thanks Naruto," said Sasuke. Naruto smiled back at Sasuke. "No problem. It was actually Haruka's idea." Haruka blushed. "It was nothing, that's what's family for." Sasuke looked at the girl right by Naruto. She actually does look a lot like Shui. "Sister? Cousin? No wonder Naruto is so attached to her." "Thanks, Squirt," teased Sasuke. Both Naruto and Haruka fell to their faces. Haruka because she couldn't believe she was called a squirt again. Naruto couldn't believe Sasuke just said "A," and Haruka quickly got back up. "Sasuke, did you just say a joke?" asked Naruto in awe. "So what?" said Sasuke. Naruto shook his head. "Sasuke Uchiha doesn't say jokes." Whatever," said Sasuke. "I'm not a squirt while you that duck-butt-haired freak," yelled Haruka. Sasuke's eyebrow suddenly gave an unimaginable twitch. "Duck-butt-haired freak? Only one person has called me that, Naruto." Naruto burst out laughing. Soon followed the rest of the kids, even the one that Sasuke was carrying. Sasuke just sighed in his attention to the kid he carried. He asked, "By the way, what's your name?" The little kid looked up at Sasuke. Shyly putting his head down, he mumbled, "Daichi." Sasuke nearly dropped the boy. "Daichi, Itachi?" The kid, seeing his reaction, went glum. "I sorry if my name sounds like Tachi." Sasuke, seeing how he had affected the kid, "Don't worry about it, the one that should be sorry is that man. I mean, he tried to take your name. What a loser." The kid's mood suddenly rose, and he giggled. Sasuke just gave him a small smile. Naruto just stared how Sasuke interacted with his younger family. Operation Help the Emo. A success. An hour later. "By Haruka, Ken, Katashi, Aiko, and Daichi," said Naruto as he walked out the building with Sasuke. Sasuke just gave the best wave and smile that he could. Sasuke then turned his attention to Naruto. "You're still gonna teach me?" Naruto just let out a big sigh. "Great. Fine, but I'm not going to teach you any elemental jutsus. I'm just going to help you improve your chakra control and some basic Uchiha Genjutsu," replied Naruto. Sasuke gave him curious look. Chakra control? Why would I want to know that? Naruto just deadpanned. How am I considered the loser at the academy? If even the prodigious Uchiha doesn't know about intermediate chakra control exercises. "You know how you can only do the fireball jutsu a few times?" said Naruto. Sasuke just nodded. "Yeah, so the best way to do more is to increase your chakra reserves." Naruto shook his head. "Not exactly. Yes, that is important, but also is having great chakra control. If you can use the perfect amount, not any less or any more, then you can use the technique to the fullest potential. You see, if you don't have perfect control over your technique, then you may only use it 4 times a day. Though if you can have at least good control over it, you can increase that number depending on your chakra reserves. For example, me. I have huge reserves since my mother is an Uzumaki. So, I can use the fireball technique up to 8 times." Sasuke looked at him in shock. 8 times? He's no older than me, though. Though since fire is my weakest element, I'm limited. I usually use wind or water, while having small control over lightning and fire," replied Naruto. Sasuke couldn't hide how shocked he was. For different affinities? How? Only a few Jonin can learn more than 2. Naruto just smirked. "I know Shisui-sensei had the same I come from 2 different clans. I was fortunate to receive the wind and water from the Uzumaki clan, which are indeed my stronger affinities. Those I use more regularly. The other 2 I received from the Namikaze clan, which are fire and lightning. Those are my minor ones. Though I really can't use the other 2. I have poor control over them. I can't use any jutsus over C rank in that area, unless I put tons of effort in it." Sasuke's skill couldn't help but stare in awe. "That's amazing. How did you get so strong?" Naruto just looked up to the sky. "I didn't want to lose anyone else. After Shisui died, I made a promise that no one I cared about would die. Not while I'm alive." Sasuke watched Naruto as closely he to find a lie in what he said. Then he too looked up to the sky. "Maybe I can too." Then suddenly, without him realizing, his thoughts took him back to those 5 kids he was just with. That's when Sasuke made his new resolve. "Naruto." Naruto turned his head to face Sasuke. "What?" Sasuke, without looking back, responded, "I'm still gonna kill Itachi." Naruto was just about to protest when Sasuke continued, "But first I will become strong and look after those kids. I finally realized that they are more important than worrying about him. But once they grow up, I will kill him." Naruto smiled. "This went better than I thought. Let's go do these chakra control exercises," said Sasuke as he turned to walk down the road toward the training grounds. Naruto sighed. "Well, I guess some things don't change." Seeing that Sasuke had stopped to wait for him, he pondered more. Go home and listen to Mito talk about Ino's new haircut, or watch how Sasuke comically fails and whines about it. "I guess it's settled." Sasuke, "Wait up. Let me buy some kanai," said Naruto. Sasuke just raised his eyebrow. "Whatever, hurry up." Flashback, no jutsu end. Sasuke gave a small smirk. "These guys have no idea about you, Naruto. But don't worry, I'll be sure to give you some competition. I will definitely surpass you, but I feel like Itachi will come first. His resolve is weak against mine, though yours is a different story." Sasuke watched how Naruto and Kiba almost engaged in a small fight, though Iruka was able to break everything up. Iruka suddenly yelled out, "All right, class, since your classmates feel so confident about knowing everything that is needed to know, I will be giving you a pop quiz." Suddenly, a bunch of the kids groaned. "Great," thought Sasuke as he fell back to his emotionless state. After the academy, Sasuke and Naruto were walking out of the academy. Naruto had made a clone to distract Sasuke's herd of fangirls. "So, we're gonna train today? I kinda wanted to take on a sword similar to yours," asked Sasuke. Naruto just gave him a grin. "Oh, like me, huh? Next thing you know, you'll be taking my clothes." Sasuke retorted, "No way. That orange and black jumpsuit isn't the best choice. You should probably take something more interesting, like a traditional Uchiha outfit." Naruto sighed. He's still at it? "Sasuke, I won't change my clan name to an Uchiha. I know you want to keep the Sharingan in the Uchiha clan, but I will be changing it to Uzumaki," said Naruto. "Whatever, I was just suggesting," said Sasuke. "Well, not today, but if you want, you could go take a look at the swords at a shop. Then pick one out. I'll help you out tomorrow, but got things to do today, said Naruto. We'll still visit Haruka if you want. I mean, we do every day, said Sasuke, wondering what his friend had to do. Naruto shook his head. Not today. I'm gonna ask my mom to teach me some Fuinjutsu. I thought you were on thin ice with your family, asked Sasuke. Naruto nodded. Yes, but with my mom's it's different. So, I'm gonna give her a chance. Sasuke nodded. That's great. I remember my mother was best friends with Kushina. She was a nice lady. Yeah, I guess she isn't too bad, said Naruto. See you then. Naruto disappeared in his Shunshin. I really need to learn that, though he never uses all the hand signs, said Sasuke out loud. Uzumaki Namikaze's household. Naruto arrived in his leaf Shunshin. Then suddenly he felt a fist connect to his temple, with pain rushing to his head as he fell to the ground. Stop using the leaf Shunshin, yelled Kushina as her hair was raised in the air. Ow, my head, moaned Naruto as he rubbed his head. You deserve that. I have to clean after you leaves every day, retorted Kushina as her hair slowly lowered. Naruto slowly got up. Maybe I shouldn't ask her too late now. So, why aren't you with Sasuke? You usually aren't back until later, asked Kushina as she went back to cleaning some dishes. Mom, I was wondering if you could teach me some Fuinjutsu, asked Naruto. Kushina stopped cleaning the dish and let it fall to the ground. Quickly turning around, she was all smiles. Of course, Naruto, I'll teach you Fuinjutsu Databane. Naruto raised his eyebrow. Databane? Kushina let out a small blush. It was a verbal tic when I was younger. Kushina and Naruto just stared at each other a minute. So Databeo. Yeah, replied Kushina. Naruto didn't know exactly what to think. The more he learned about his mother, the more similar they seemed. My verbal tic is better, stated Naruto as he sat down at the table, pulling out the basic sealing materials. Kushina blinked. She didn't like to lose an argument, but she didn't know about boasting about the verbal tic she desperately tried to get rid of. Her son had put her in a tight spot. I don't know if he did it intentionally, but if he did, then he is much smarter than I thought. Whatever verbal tics are dumb anyways, Kushina tried to coolly replied. Naruto just laughed. That's not what Grandma Tsunade said. She thought it was adorable. Kushina grinned. Naruto seems to be Grandma's little boy. Is that it, Naruto? Are you Grandma's little boy? Naruto just blushed, not happy that his little teasing had been turned against him. Whatever, let's start. Kushina gave him a big smile. She had finally gotten her